Well, Deb Murphy filed this report for Sierra Wave Media. No surprise, Bishop City Council voted 3-2 to ban commercial cannabis operations within the city limits. Council members Joe Pexi, Laura Smith, and Pat Gardner have been steady in their opposition, having heard from their constituents that cannabis is not consistent with their view of Bishop. Karen Schwartz and Jim Ellis both voted to approve an alternative ordinance recommended by a 5-0 vote by the City of Bishop's Planning Commission. This to allow up to 3 dispensaries and allow for testing facilities in industrial zoning. Councilman Ellis was comfortable that the oversight and regulations in the ordinance would protect the city and the community. Schwartz has been supportive of regulated dispensaries since the beginning of the debate. Now, during the public comment period prior to the vote, 6 Bishop residents spoke in favor of the alternative ordinance, arguing that underage use of marijuana had fallen in Colorado once the state legalized recreational use. The city had the opportunity to fill empty storefronts, take advantage of the growing adventure tourist market. Northern Indiana Hospital's Chief Executive Officer Kevin Flanagan stepped up at the end of the public comment period, reminding the Bishop City Council that pot, quote, had a profound impact on developing brains, end quote. Smith questioned the Planning Commission's reliance on a majority of yes vote to Measure H, the county's advisory measure on the November ballot. Now, the only voting precinct in Bishop against the measure was West Bishop. Now, the measure referred to the unincorporated parts of the county, basically where the county had jurisdiction. Smith, Gardner, and Pexti's constituents assumed that excluded Bishop. All 3 interpreted the vote as not in Bishop. Smith compared cannabis dispensaries with liquor stores and porn shops. The majority of people want a different feel, she said. Pexi noted the happiest place in the world, Anaheim, pretty sure he meant Disneyland, banned dispensaries. Gardner cited a League of Cities analysis indicating a city the size of Bishop could only justify 1/4 of a dispensary. Schwartz agreed, but reminded the council of the numbers of people driving to or through Bishop each year. And again, Bishop City Council voting 3-2 to ban commercial cannabis operations within city limits. Thank Deb Murphy for that report. Well, local law enforcement officers had crowd control issues in Bishop Monday night. Press release from the Bishop Police Department states that BPD dispatch received a call at approximately 7:45 p.m. Monday, July 10th of shots fired coming from an apartment located on the 300 block of East Line Street. Local law enforcement officers responded and set up a block-wide perimeter. Credible information continued to flow in during the unified response. Now, the press release says the field investigation tended to reveal that at least 2 men had engaged in a heated discussion. One of them subsequently displayed and discharged a firearm. It appears no one was injured. Now, 2 males associated with the identified apartment eventually cooperated with the officers and were detained. No firearm was located, and they were later released from the Bishop Police Department. That investigation is ongoing. Now, the press release notes a significant challenge officers faced was crowd control. The vast majority of citizens in the area willingly stayed back, recognizing the common sense in steering clear of an obviously active police emergency. Others, unfortunately, the press release notes, chose to challenge the safety perimeter boundaries. In doing so, they preoccupied officers who were needed to assist or supervise in the investigation and thus compromised the integrity of the crime scene. 2 adults were arrested for obstructing and later released from the police department with a citation. Press release says both apologized for their behavior during the interviews. There was also a handful of citizens who were substantially misinformed about the law or were just there looking to agitate. Now, the press release says Bishop Police Department would like to thank those who listened to officers or used common sense and stayed safely away. BPD would also like to remind citizens that law enforcement is charged with the responsibility of investigating reports of crime, but it cannot do so effectively when bombarded with nonsensical or unreasonable behavior from onlookers, which in turn hurts the entire community. If you do have any information that may assist this investigation, you should contact the Bishop Police Department, 760-873-5866. Well, Deb Murphy filed a report noting it all started with an Airstream parked on Whitney Portal Road in Lone Pine selling outdoor gear. It may have ended at Tuesday's Inyo County Board of Supervisors meeting with a parking ordinance addressing specific issues in both Lone Pine and Independence. Now some background, the Airstream Mount Whitney gear was parked long-term on Whitney Portal Road at the U.S. Highway 395 intersection. People complained. Inyo County 5th District Supervisor Matt Kingsley leapt into action, trying to update the county's peddling ordinances or creating mobile vendor ordinances was not an immediate solution. Inyo County Deputy County Counsel Terry Walker explained parking restrictions could be put in place if public safety was an issue. Everyone agreed safety was an issue. Everyone also agreed a very specific ordinance could be put in place as no one wanted to start restricting parking in Inyo communities. Ordinances are additions to existing county codes and only impact county right-of-ways, not Highway 395. Now, for Independence, 4th District Supervisor Mark Tillemans managed to soothe a long-festering independence wound by adding an ordinance that banned commercial trucks weighing 10,000 pounds or more from parking in specified residential areas from 2 a.m. to 6 p.m. The restricted areas include West Park Street from Edwards to South Street, Washington Street, and South Washington Street to West Citrus Street. Ordinance go into effect August 10th, 30 days from approval. Deb Murphy's full story posted on SierraWave.net. Well, the Superior Court of California for Mono County recruiting the new 2017-2018 Mono County Civil Grand Jury. Civil Grand Jury is made up entirely of community volunteers. Primary mission of the Grand Jury to examine local government agencies and or local government officials to determine if the agencies and or officials are serving the residents of the county in a legal, economical, and efficient manner. Grand jurors are appointed by the presiding judge of the Mono County Superior Court, Mark Magid. Detailed explanation of how the grand jury operates and an application form for the public to use to be considered for appointment to the grand jury found on the Superior Court's website, monocourt.org. If you're interested in applying to being appointed grand jury, you need to do that by July 19th. We'll be back with more news.